I think yesterday someone opened a debate on the platform. And I really don't want to go there, but I want to ask you later in the day, which team you are.
Violence.
No, it's not that. Ladies and gentlemen, we are going to take this opportunity to welcome Council Semambo Rashid, who is our president-elect. He has already received the tools. He's fully fledged in office. He has taken his rightful position. So it would really, really be an honor for us to hear his message to us on the very first annual dinner that he is serving as the president of UMLAS. Please join us, Council Semambo Rashid. Thank you very much.
Okay, Mr. President, abadde ayina ekiragiro kyandagidde wano. President has requested that Council Sophia say something first before he does, and then she can rightfully welcome him to give his remarks.
No, someone is, I don't know.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Our dear President Emeritus, Your Lordship, our President, Rashid Semambo, and our guest of honor, Al-Hajj Ismail Bumba, my brothers and sisters of the Uganda Muslim Lawyers Association, once again, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I take great pleasure in seeing that we have all convened here this second day of November 2024. The theme of this Muslim annual dinner is reimagining the UMLAS that we all desire. The UMLAS that we all desire is going to take hard work. The UMLAS that we all desire is part of my mandate is to ensure that we operationalize the legal aid clinic of the Uganda Muslim Lawyers Association. I'd like to assure you that even before this evening, I have taken practical steps to ensure that I follow up with the approval that is required from the Law Council. And part of my strategies is to create clusters that take accountability. So we are going to have actual accountability clusters where we follow through with what has been done by the past executive, what needs to be done, how it needs to be done, what effort needs to be added, and who needs to take action. So we are not going to do things of lazy people. For the next 3 years, we are going to work harder. I recognize that the past executive has really put in a lot of work, but we have to work harder to get exactly where we want to get. I am the Vice CEO of the Islamic Finance Hub. And at the Islamic Finance Hub, what we do is to ensure that we try to grow Islamic finance last mile. We have very many activities that are ongoing. 2 days ago, we had our first Uganda Law Society Islamic Finance Hub conference that was held at Hotel Onomo. I realized that there ought to have been more attendance from the UMLAS membership, but I take this opportunity to implore you to be actively concerned, interested, and engaged in these activities that are very crucial for us. Because if we are able to grow a robust financial system on Islamic terms, and also enjoying the rest of our brothers and sisters from other faiths, then I am sure that the values and the principles that the Islamic financial system promotes have the ability to catapult not just our economy, but our livelihood as Muslims and non-Muslims who live in the same country, and also ensure that we, in the growth of this particular aspect, join hands with a global world that has done this, that has experience in it, to support us and help us grow an alternative financial system. So the CEO said a lot, especially in terms of the 5-year strategic plan of UMLAS. I'm sure, and I pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that we do a greater job taking the Uganda Muslim Lawyers Association forward. I thank you very much for listening to me, and enjoy this dinner. I also have the distinguished honor to invite our dear President-elect of the Uganda Muslim Lawyers Association, join hands to welcome him, Skyz.
Thank you very much, Sophia. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Our guest of honor, my brother Haji Ismail Bumba, my Lord, the Justice of Court of Appeal, Justice Muzamil Kibedi, we are most obliged. My brother, distinguished members, I can see my brother, Honorable respective capacities. I am very, very honored to stand before you as the new president of Uganda Muslim Lawyers Association. It is with a lot of pride that I take over this mandate. Ladies and gentlemen, it is with a lot of pride that I take over this new mandate and speak to you in regard to, I think, a very timely theme, reimagining the UMLAS we all desire. I remember on the day of the election, I quoted some verses that I consider to be relevant in our situation. Before I came here today, ladies and gentlemen, as I was preparing at my home, I asked my daughter, who is about 8 years old, to at least write down my talking points. Yes, she's called Hazel Semambo. And she wrote on a piece of paper a few points that I think are very, very important, that we all require, not only as members of UMLAS, but as individuals who belong to a community called UGANDA, who belong to a community called lawyers, and who belong to a greater community called Islam. The mantra, in my view, in anybody's life, if you hope to succeed, is twofold. We need to build capacity, ladies and gentlemen, and we need to build character. To me, these are very, very important things. We live in an era where we somehow think that magic will happen towards us and we shall attain success in spite of the fact that we may not be the best amongst the group that we survive in. For us to succeed, ladies and gentlemen, we need therefore to build capacity. These are not my words, but these are the words of Allah Azza wa Jalla in the Holy Quran. When God says that I have chosen you, the Muslims, kuntum khayra ummah, as the best amongst mankind, the implication is you build capacity. You build capacity, number one, primarily by acquiring knowledge. The problem that we have, ladies and gentlemen, is we live in an era, I usually say these things, of something called acquisitiveness. We don't make any distinction between qualifications, meaning papers. So nowadays you have people who have very, very many qualifications. I say proudly before all of you, it is one of the reasons why I refuse, even after dropping out of my master's class in 2008 in Makerere, why I refuse to go back. Because we seem to have this obsession with having papers that do not translate into any tangible solutions to our societies. And this is the problem that we have. Everybody is an expert, but they are an expert only in terms of something we call fiat. So your expertise is really more of papers, but when it comes to having tangible approaches to our problems, we don't seem to have them. I am requesting all of us to take this opportunity as we reimagine the UMLAS that we desire, the UMLAS that we want, to become more competent members of the association. Competence dictates a deep understanding. That is why the sheikhs tell us, when we ask for ilma, we say, Rabbi zidni ilma, and remembrance, and the most important thing, wa fahma, understanding. Without understanding, as the case is with most of us, unfortunately, we shall not head anywhere. We need to understand the areas in which we specialize, that is the law. We need to understand the community in which we operate as Ugandans and offer practical, tangible, pragmatic solutions to the problems of the time, and in that way the sky shall only be the limit. Similarly, ladies and gentlemen, we need to create meaningful synergies. So we all have different backgrounds, all different expertise, but I think it's high time we harness from each other's strengths, and it's high time similarly to cover each other's weaknesses. As a Muslim Ummah and as UMLAS, I am usually appalled by the discussions we have on the WhatsApp group, and it's because I sometimes get a bit shy. I should have exited that group a long time ago. We don't seem to understand that we are advocates who are enjoined by our calling to understand the law, and by the fact that we're Muslims, to understand how it affects the greater Muslim community in our country. We cannot, and I hope that this becomes a new leaf in our chapter as UMLAS. We cannot spend all the time, number one, arguing as to who is the rightful leader. Number two, arguing whether the Haji we see on social media was properly incarcerated or not. Number three, discussing matters which at the end of the day do not directly affect us. Because I usually give an example. Now, let us assume the Haji is now incarcerated for life. How is the argument on social media going to improve his life? How is it going to improve the lives of your relatives that you left in the villages or the homes that you lead? We need to somehow talk about law reform. We need somehow to talk about legal reform. Let us talk about legislative agenda that befits us. Let us talk about legal precedents that affect us positively. We cannot be quiet when we have amendments to property rights. We cannot be quiet when we have amendments to the Marriage Act. We cannot be quiet when we have challenges in terms of succession. When all of these are going on that directly affect us, we keep on arguing as to whether I should grow my beard longer or I should shave it off. It is quite unfortunate, it is quite appalling, it's quite a disgrace. I think we have abdicated our role in society, and as I reimagine the UMLAS that we desire, I think it is high time we take our place in society. The Prophet Muhammad ﷺ said, live on this earth as though you will never leave, and prepare for Yawm al-Akhirah as though you're going to live tomorrow, you're going to live any minute. For the different areas in which, I'm still talking about building capacity, in which we act. My Lord, I wish to report to you and say that we as practitioners, at least somebody like me who's been around for 20 years, know who is incompetent on the bench and who is competent. So the young lawyers that are under me, I always prepare them. I tell them which judge are we appearing before. And as soon as they mention the name, I tell them we're going to confuse that one. As soon as they mention another name, we say you need to be very, very, very careful and mindful of what you're going to submit, because they're going to be alive to the facts more than you. Even as colleagues, I will tell you, there are many of you, the majority of you, unfortunately for you, when I receive a notice from you or pleadings from you, I tell people, don't worry, you go back home. This one we shall handle. A very few minority, as soon as you receive their pleadings, you get worried. You said double check, triple check, quadruple check, quintuple check, because these people have an agenda. These people are not stupid. There is no way they wrote this without intention. So how do we choose to be known? Are we known as advocates who practice the law for the sake of it? So we draw money from clients, but we do not invest ourselves in the instructions? Or should we be known, since number one, primarily as Muslims, you don't take drugs, I presume at least, you don't take alcohol, so the Magnetan rule does not apply to you. So the question is, how then do we become incompetent? When I was still lecturing at LDC, I used to tell my students, many of them are here, that you see, I'm much older than most of you. Even here, I'm sure I'm much older than most of you. But how comes I invest more time in researching and preparing for a matter than you? The problem is, my Lord is here, so I don't want to give him as an example. But it is important that we have only those people who are competent in these positions of authority, in these positions that can transform our lives. It makes it easier for us who can whisper in people's ears, believe it or not, to talk about people who are competent. I always say it's not about emancipation, it's not about saying that also Muslims need a slot. It's about saying that this is the best lawyer amongst all of them, regardless of creed, religion, regardless of tribe, regardless of gender, but solely because of competence. That to me is very, very important. So let us read more, let us research more, let us become better advocates. That is the UMLAS that we should all reimagine. Number two, we should, in my view, build character. I said it the first time we got elected, that our challenge is we are highly indisciplined. And I remember saying that when you read Shakespeare, he says the fault, dear Brutus, is not in the stars, but it is in your eyes. Before we blame government, before we blame everybody around us for our misgivings, have we asked ourselves our role in either our failure or our stagnation? So if you're given an assignment, how disciplined are you? And again, these are not my words. These are imperatives from the Quran, from the Sunnah, from the Hadith of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. You need, once you get instructions, once you get an appointment, that is your amana. And it is compulsory, not for my sake, but it is compulsory for you to ensure that you do everything perfectly to the best of your human capabilities. Is it when we get instruction fees, or is it when we are appointed that we decide now to go for a quick holiday, only to come back on Monday to face somebody like me who has been stressing over the matter over and over and over again? Let us stop blaming everybody else. Let us stop asking ourselves how others make it and some of us always stagnate. But let us now learn that in terms of character, let us be disciplined. Let us respect our elders. Let us also have mercy upon the ones who are younger than us. But most importantly, let us learn how to work together as teams who are here to succeed. In life, you need focus. I find that we have a big problem. As lawyers, initially, especially in the initial term, if you're not very lucky, the money is not very, very good. So what we usually do oftentimes is now we start small businesses. And as soon as you start a small business, half of your brain is thinking about an application for judicial review. The other half is thinking about the landlord who said that you need to also pay IFRIS. How, with this lack of focus, do you expect to become a better advocate? My imploration to all of you is that it's high time we become focused. If you truly want to succeed, the Baganda have a saying, "Ti adiringana mauru." We need to understand that repetition is what breeds success. We've been here a very long time, alhamdulillah rabbil alameen, but it is out of repetition, that you somehow get perfection. Finally, ladies and gentlemen, in terms of the theme, reimagining the UMLAS we all deserve, may we learn something called delayed gratification. Delayed gratification. I said these are things that are written in the Quran. Can we wait for tomorrow? Because tomorrow will be a better day. Can we avoid shortcuts? Because shortcuts will always be expensive, will never come to anything tangible. Can we somehow agree that good things come to those who wait? Now, failing of which, I'm assuring you, there is no success that is going to come to any of us. So let us work harder, let us be patient, and inshallah ta'ala, success will come to all of us. I thank you very, very much, ladies and gentlemen, for listening to me. There is my very final statement. there is a writer, I am sure many of you have not heard of, who was called Aesop. So Aesop writes fables. And in one of his fables, he says, it's called the story of the north sun, the north wind and the sun. Life is about persuasion. Even where we disagree, can we learn that we need to persuade each other? Don't bully me, don't abuse me, don't fight with me, because I'm probably stronger than you. Now, even if I were weaker than you, and we break and spoil everything, how does it help you? How does it help me? How does it help UMLAS? So can we be more courteous? Can we be more respectful in our engagement with each other? If you have an issue, I think it is important that you use persuasion. If you don't know Malik, you ask me to talk to Malik, because I know Malik and he's my close friend. If you don't know Aisha, you talk to the person who knows Aisha. If you don't know Sophia, you ask someone to engage, because that is the way of civilization, that is the way of unity, and that is the only way we are going to succeed. Again, thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. I pray to Allah Azza wa Jalla that He guides us all in this new journey that we have embarked, and that we succeed by leaps and bounds. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
A huge round of applause for Mr. President.
سيدي يا محمد حبك روح الإيمان يا ربي أرجو لقاءه يوما في دار السلام.
Hello. Thank you very much, Mr. President. I'd like to hand over to my co-MC to welcome the guest of honor, or maybe give some more remarks.
Whoever is behind the mic, please do a better job. Hello. Yes, thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, first of all, I want to make two comments. The first one is that I come from Chagwe. And I hope people will be kind enough to realize that we've lost the very first title that we have. Did we win? Hey, somebody said he, so I thought we had beaten those voodoo people. The voodoo people, banda voodoo batandise okukola ki okutulinyirira. It is the first final Chagwe has reached, and these people would not reconsider, such that at least Chagwe can also take the very first Masaza title. But anyway, life happens. The second thing I want to comment about was when the president started talking of FIBOs, and I was like, really? The last time we had a gathering, we had our friends who were struggling with. Hello? Sky Management, please. Is that better? Can you hear me? Yes. Council Nuru, can we have the plex? We wanted to start with recognizing service awards for those who are outgoing, followed by the awardees. As they work on the plex, ladies and gentlemen,
The whole world's talking about you and the thought of being part of your nation. I'm so proud to follow you day and night. You sacrifice, led us from darkness to light tonight. Until the end of my time, I will love you. Salla alayka ar-Rahmanu azka as-salah was-salam. ارفع مقامه دوما في كل مكان سيدي يا محمد حبك روح الإيمان يا ربي أرجو لقاءه يوما في دار السلام حبيبي حبيبي يا محمد صلى عليك الرحمن حبك في كل مكان يا حبيبي حبيبي يا محمد يا خير الأنام عليك أزكى السلام.
Struggling here. Treasurer.
Thank you very much for your service. Council Sauda, thank you very much.
Council Kaketo, outgoing Secretary General. Council Kaketo has a smile. Ladies and gentlemen, your guest of honor. No? Not yet. Allow me now invite the Deputy Secretary General outgoing.
Hajat Zakia Wanjui Naguja.
The only
Hajat
Mokokiu.
Zakia, in that particular order, thank you very much for your service.
I hope you are not the one who is...
No. Not at all. Thank you very much. We're going to clap for him even when he's not here. I think we'll get a representative to receive an award on his behalf. Sebufu. Thank you very much. Is he with us today? Two PhDs. Wow. Land Management, Dr. Kusima Sarah, thank you very much. We are honored to know you. Hey. Okay. Yes, we'll have the next ex-official. Thank you very much, Council. And in a very special way, I would also welcome Council Mukasa Siraje Katantazi, the CEO, to also come and receive his award of service. Thank you very much. You've done us a good job. You've served diligently, and we are proud to know you. Thank you very much for your service. Yes, thank you very much, Council. Well deserved. Ladies and gentlemen, now we are going to have... Pardon?
That's why I raised my certificate. But I'm not standing. I mean for political office. Ladies and gentlemen, yes, this one works. Ladies and gentlemen, that was the category of service award. The next group is in regard to awards. We are recognizing special categories of individuals, and we have a very brief recital before the award is given. Effective the year before last, we started recognizing those who have been exceptional amongst us. The first category we are awarding this year is the Young Lawyer of the Year Award. And I'm going to read a very short recital, guest of honor, before this award is given. This young lawyer is a distinguished legal practitioner dedicated towards upholding rule of law. He is an advocate of all courts of judicature and currently the deputy head litigation in one of the city's prestigious firms. He graduated at LDC recently in 2022 and enrolled in the same year. However, he has practiced up to the Supreme Court. Yes, it is possible because it is 9 months in the lower courts, and then in his youthful and hard-working soul, he has dedicated and committed himself to pursue justice. He is always at court on time regardless of distance or means. Because of his hard work, his success story practicing as a young lawyer has motivated and inspired fellow young lawyers. He was chosen by the Uganda Law Society to represent Uganda young lawyers, and represents at the Tech and Law Conference in Nairobi, Kenya. He is interested in Muslim affairs and has partaken in many of UMLAS activities. He has participated in the following cases: Supreme Court Civil Appeal number 119 of 2022, Court of Appeal criminal case number 113 of 2018. Of course, that implies he inherited it. High Court Civil Suit number 10 of 2024, and many others. Ladies and gentlemen, the Young Lawyer of the Year award goes to none other than our own Baide Muhammad.
Put your hands together for Council Mbarire Muhammad.
I think socialism has started now. We can see
The pressure is increasing.
the pressure has increased.
Increases.
Hey,
Council Mbarire Muhammad, well deserved. Thank you very much. This is a chance for
the
us to
ladies
see-
in the house, is he married?
Asking
don't
for
know.
100 others.
I don't know. Council Shimi, kindly take us through
I'll take you through
the Litigator of the Year award.
Okay, our next award is going to the Litigator of the Year, and our 2024 Litigator of the Year award has been awarded. He has worked with the Ministry of Justice and Constitutional Affairs. He has worked under the Office of the Administrator General for 2 decades. He is an examiner at LDC. He teaches, among others, family law at Makerere University, as well as other universities. He has traveled, ladies and gentlemen, amongst all courts of judicature in various circuits across Uganda, and has adjudicated in locus classicus cases where his submission and arguments have been relied on by the justices of the Supreme Court, the Court of Appeal, the High Court, to set precedents. Some of the cases, which include Administrator General versus Kakoza, Umar and Stanbic Bank, Kasozi, Eddie and another versus Kivumbi, Gregory and 6 others, to mention but a few. Counsel is also known to have successfully handled the most complicated files at the Office of the Administrator General in his tenure. He is an active member of almost all legal-related court users fora, where he automatically and authoritatively comments and digests legal principles on various aspects of the law. He has proved to be very generous on legal materials, and in the last 12 months, he has shared over 200 legal books in soft copy, paper, journals, and various related social handles and court users fora. Ladies and gentlemen, this award of the Litigator of the Year goes to none other than Haji Bogere Robert Ali.
Congratulations. Ladies and gentlemen, I must confess, as they were reading that recite, I almost thought it was Council Kaketo.
No. Council, well deserved. Please join the guest of honor. Thank you very much, Council Bogere Robert Ali.
And he's a humble man. Look at him.
Oh, I know.
Very humble.
I'm asking for a friend. Is he single? You know these things. You need to know.
I don't think Bogere can be single.
You never know.
Let us be serious.
Obuzayo number maker. Asking for 3 hours.
Contextually, I understand he's single in number 2, 3, and 4.
Thank you very much.
Ladies and gentlemen, the next award is the Academic of the Year award. She holds a PhD in law from the University of London. She is a researcher and has brought law at Makerere University, Uganda, and other institutions for over 2 decades. She's a human rights advocate and heads the Human Rights Commission and the African Commission on Human Rights. She is also a consultant and has consulted for international organizations, including the United Nations, on human rights and gender-related projects. She is very well published. She's an author written extensively on human rights, international law, and gender issues. For the past half a decade, her papers have been published At least 12 of her papers have been published in international journals. She has received awards both international and national, and her leadership position and mentorship to Uganda Law Society and UMLAS is commendable. Ladies and gentlemen, allow me introduce the Academic of the Year Award winner, Dr. Zahara Nampeo.
Thank you very much. Council, I've been reliably informed that she sent Council Hawa Nachibuka to pick it on her behalf.
Yes, Council Hawa Nachibuka.
In spirit, and she is going to...
I can see, you can also behave like doctors. They have a way they walk. Did you see Council Sarah? They exude knowledge.
You know?
You work with knowledge, work with knowledge.
Thank you very much. On behalf of Dr. Zahara Nampeo, we have received and appreciated that award. Thank you very much.
Don't leave your things behind. You see these things. Thank you very much. Take us through the next award. We have 2 to go. We are almost there.
Thank you very much. The next award is for the Judicial Office of the Year. And she is an exemplary officer with unwavering commitment to upholding the rule of law. She has demonstrated exceptional integrity, impartiality, and dedicated to justice. She's outstanding and made contributions in the administration of justice. It has inspired culture of excellence within the judiciary. She has also fostered public trust and confidence in the legal system. Through the 2 years of her distinguished service, the said judicial officer has consistently displayed unwavering commitment to fairness, equality, and unshakable resolve in the face of adversity. She has tirelessly worked to promote access to justice, inspired leadership and mentorship to colleagues, and has a relenting passion to advancement of the legal profession. Guest of honor at the High Court Division, where she sits, she is known for her punctuality in attending to court. She has determined cases and held the dispensation of tasks allocated to her. This year alone, in 2024, she has disposed of an average of 10 weekly cases, and she has managed the ICMIS system and made it friendly to court users to access. She's very accommodative, ladies and gentlemen, and has made court a place where advocates, court users find solace. This award is presented to none other than the Deputy Registrar of the High Court of Uganda. At Kampala Land Division, Her Worship Rashida Buntanula. Her Worship Rashida Buntanula. Thank you so much. Everything we read is true. You guys can feel it, can see it. Thank you very much for that distinguished service.
I can testify that one time I was 3 minutes late, and she had already decided to adjourn that matter because my time was past done.
Which was actually fair.
I am not complaining. I'm just raising it here such that you can see how punctual people can be. Ladies and gentlemen, we celebrate our own by awarding them. There was a bit of, I want to pause a little bit here. We ask members to participate in these nominations. I want to tell you that Her Worship, this is a little bit of inside, was competing with a Court of Appeal justice. But most points went to her because people said, criteria, and she was tick, 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 tick. So when we call and you have interfaced, participate such that it doesn't become an affair of the executive, but it is participatory. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, we now go to community awards. I will read the mentorship award, and then Shimi, you will read the community award. This person is recognized for exceptional leadership, selfless devotion, and dedication to mentoring, inspiring others. He has had remarkable contribution to nurturing talent, fostering potential, and leaving an indelible legacy. Despite his position, he has guided countless young lawyers and individuals in their person. His humility is exceptional. He has fostered a culture of excellence, inclusivity, and growth. He has shared his expertise and wisdom with a generosity, and his humility is such that it does not exude an aura of "I have arrived." He has established mentorship programs to the underrepresented, provided pivotal guidance to emerging leaders, and has also counseled and guided UMLAS. He has developed innovative training initiatives for mentorship programs and demonstrated an unwavering commitment to paying it forward. Ladies and gentlemen, in our wisdom, we thought that this individual should be recognized, and it is none other than the Honorable Asuman Chiyingi.
Thank you very much. I will request Councillor Wanjiri Zakia to pick that award on his behalf. And I believe that she's actually going to deliver. with the
Councillor
words that we actually
Zakia,
want.
Honorable Asuman walks slowly, slowly. Hey, you should also follow. Slowly, slowly.
Ladies and gentlemen,
that.
Honorable Asuman Chiyingi's representative.
Yes. Ladies and gentlemen, at this point we are going to manage time. It is about that time when we should be invited there. The next category, please.
The next category and the last category is the Community Service Award. Today we recognize the invaluable contribution of one of the known entities serving our community. In the last 10 years, since its inception, the said entity has been able to handle 60,000 indigent clients, 40,000 mobile legal clinics, and they have also handled 401 court cases, 10,000 pro bono cases. This entity has also pioneered
Right
programs.
now we should.
Ladies and gentlemen,
Those
this
are some of the things we should.
entity has pioneered programs that address the legal rights of Muslim women. Through her offices, it has produced research to the barriers of accessing sexual reproductive health rights of Muslim women in Uganda. The said entity has petitioned courts against the Attorney General in the Constitutional Petition number 10 of 2024 to challenge the non-implementation of Article 129, 1D of Uganda's Constitution that seek to operationalize Kadhi courts. In 2021, it did advocacy for the establishment of the said courts up to UN CEDAW committee, which resulted into the UN passing concluding observations, recommending and establishing the said Kadhi courts in Uganda. The said entity still championed the voices of the underrepresented groups and tirelessly advocated for Muslim rights and ensures that her work respects and uplifts the voices of Muslim women in ways that honor their faith, setting a precedent for equity. Ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of Musawa, a global movement of equality and justice in the Muslim family, it has compiled Muslim family laws in Uganda into a country table. It has globally contributed and partnered with international organizations on rights of Muslims and religious freedoms in Uganda. This entity is none other than the very first Muslim women-led organization that provides legal aid in the Muslim community for the last 10 years. It has stood the test of time, surely. This is none other than the Islamic Women Initiative for Justice, Law and Peace, in short, IWILAP. Put your hands together for IWILAP, and we will receive...
Dr. Asha,
Mwanga.
is she in the house?
Has she received...
Dr. Asha is
She
now
is
a
the
PhD.
executive-
Is she here? Is the executive director? Haula Naluvega, on behalf of IWILAP, kindly receive the...
Thank you for that service, and please take our greetings and appreciation to Dr. Asha Mwanga. Tell her her service and effort have fully paid off. We really pride in her. Thank you very much.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, I'm reliably informed that the President ULS is now in the house.
Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together for the
At
President, Uganda Law Society.
Hey, there comes the one and only President ULS.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome Council Semakadde, who has been joined by the local council representatives. Thank you very much for honoring our invite.
His people
Councillor
are here.
Abubakar, please sit. Councillor Abubakar Osekanjako has also accompanied the president, who is also going to take his seat.
Disruptions. This must be the radical Nuba.
This is rightfully done.
Hey.
The pressure is increases. Is it increasing or decreasing?
The pressure is increasing. We are just starting.
Backbenchers, it is increasing.
Today we have everybody's at the front.
Tim Haji.
Ladies and gentlemen, those of you have been seeing him on radio.
I know.
And hearing him on TV. Is it the other way around? Our very own Councillor Ishaq Semakadde.
Thank you very
Thank you very much for gracing us with your presence. Mr. President, you found us at the point of awarding outstanding performers, and we are done with that session. We are going to make a slight adjustment. I will give you a few minutes to take a breather, because we were about to invite the guest of honor to make his speech. But who are we?
How?
Not to take words of wisdom.
How dare we?
What did I do? Did I invite I pray that you grace us. Take a breather. We will hold you for a few minutes as we make the last pronouncement on certificates, and then we'll ask you to come and at least talk to your members. Ladies and gentlemen, we are not going to invite the following members, but we want to recognize them. We have got sponsors who stand with us through these functions. We need that extra hand. And this year in particular, there have been those who have stood out. At least they've contributed $1 million towards pulling people to participate, and that extra is what covers the things that we may not have budgeted for. In no particular order, allow me to recognize National Water and Sewerage Corporation. We have a certificate of appreciation, but we are not going to award them because we are managing our time.
Of course.
Zuria, next.
We are going to also recognize and thank Tropical Bank for their support.
Tropical Bank, thank you very much. The law firm of Bogezi, Kabega and Bukenya Company Advocates.
Thank you very much. You have helped us in organizing this dinner, and we are very grateful. Would also like to thank the NRM Legal Department. They've also supported us.
NRM Secretariat, the Legal Department. Yes, we also recognize the law firm, the individual. This is not the law firm, this is the individual of the person of Council Usama Sebufu.
Thank you very much.
The uniqueness about this, he invites the sheikhs that come. We are in the presence of one of our own, Dr. Mgerwa. Can you please say salam?
Wa alaikum salam.
Dr. Mgerwa lectures at the IUIU, and he holds a PhD in Sharia. Sharia is law in Arabic, so he took the initiative to invite. We also expected Sheikh Chiti, but they shared a video of him earlier in another function, okay, but he might come. Remember, Umtozi wa Feakolachi? Yes, please.
Yes, we'll also like to thank Iwilap, the one that just received here an award. Thank you very much for that support, and please continue serving the community.
Yes, in no particular order, Luminous Advocates, Stanfield Valuers, Chazekankaka and Company Advocates, Evergreen Ajungule. Can you please read the rest?
Yes, Kakoza and Kalibala, Kafero and Company Advocates, and all the other sponsors that we had for this beautiful function, and specifically to thank Uganda Law Society for that support. Thank you very much for being there for us. And I believe that the function has actually come through.
I was wondering why you are not mentioning ULS. The president is here next year. The package might
I
be
saved the best
tripled.
for last. I saved the best for last. I did save the best for last.
Mr. President,
Uganda Law Society.
Mr. President, ULS. Now I'm a little bit at crossroads. When I say Mr. President, they both look at me. Let me be specific. Mr. President, UMLAS, kindly do us the honor of inviting the President ULS to come and talk to his members.
Your Excellency, the President of the Uganda Law Society, once again, my brother, Mr. Isaac Semakadde, it's with great honor and pride that I invite you to give a few remarks to these very eager listeners. We trust in your knowledge, we trust in your leadership, and we are very, very happy to have you amongst us. Ladies and gentlemen, a round of applause for our President.
Thank you very much. My President, UMLAS. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
My Lord, Justice of Appeal, Chibedi Mzamil, Your Excellency, the past President, Council Ali Kankaka, my mentor, the President UMLAS, and the Vice President UMLAS, incoming, many, many friends and colleagues in the audience, our distinguished guests, I salute you all, and I thank you for being with us this evening. I want to start by apologizing for lateness. The schedule we run is extremely busy, that we have to be intentional and deliberate about family. Saturday is set out for that purpose, and I reluctantly came because on Thursday, a special request, in addition to the former one, was made to me at an auspicious occasion, the first ever Islamic Finance and Banking Conference that had nothing to do with government. It was private initiative spearheaded by Mesa Advocates, which is co-founded by our Vice President Sophia Chigozi, Signum Advocates, BDO Uganda, and the Uganda Law Society. I saw firsthand a display of excellence, and I figured that it's important to come and continue celebrating Miss Sophia Chigozi's win, even for a few minutes. So before I go further, Miss Sophia Chigozi, I apologize. On Thursday, I should have come with a lady called Angela Namuleme. I have asked her to come today, so I will invite her to speak, to come up here for introduction and recognition. Angela is also a president. You can explain to them.
Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. It's indeed an honor to be here before the esteemed people of the bar and the excellence, the Ummah in general. How do you know? My name is Namlin Angela, a fourth-year law student at Islamic University in Uganda, Females Campus. and the president, Uganda Law Students Association. This association, it is an umbrella unifying all law schools in Uganda. There are 15 law accredited teaching law schools, and the composition of all the schools, it is Uganda Law Students Association, and I'm their president. Thank you so much for the honor. Thank you so much, Your Excellency. I'm indeed indebted.
Thank you very much. Yes, you can stay. No, stay here. Mr. President, 20 years ago when we were at university, the Angela's Association was a joke. It was formed just after I had been elected as president of Mackay Law Society in the spirit of Taiwan. So it was almost like a joke. This time where I'm the butt of the joke, that I hosted Angela at the beginning of the week to officiate her swearing in, but at the same time, my investment as patron of an organization, which was a joke 20 years ago. But now it is no longer a joke. It is so serious an organization that its National Executive Committee constitutes all the presidents of the law societies from the schools of law in Uganda. And I had the moment to confess to President Angela Namuleme and her executive that something has happened in the last 20 years. There is value that has been unlocked by the students' fraternities in the schools of law, and they have deposited this value in this organization. And they had the wisdom to seek the patronage of the Uganda Law Society, such that the two institutions move together like the two wheels of a chariot towards some destination, some common destination. That means the students have matured in the organization more than when we were there. They have understood the value of unity across board, and they are practicing it. Yeah. So this reminds me about our own organization, UMLAS. Please don't get me wrong. We have been a joke in the eyes of so many for more than a decade, more than 2 decades. And in the eyes of so many, we are still a joke. I say this because I know that in Kenya, since the passing of the Patriot Act in the USA, Muslim lawyers' organizations ceased to be a joke there. They became the most significant, trustworthy defenders of rule of law in Kenya, in East Africa. To be a Muslim lawyer in Kenya is to be the most trusted agent of the law society. In fact, you all know Senior Counsel Ahmed Nasil Abdullahi, the first lawyer to have 1 million followers on Twitter in Africa. You know him. If you don't know him, you will now know him. That kind of influence is something we should aspire to, all of us. Together with his partner, they formed a bank. His partner is now a governor, I think in one of the states. They formed a revival and a renaissance. And somebody recently wrote an article, I think it was Charles Onyango-Bo. He said, when you look at how Kenya is organized and their political trajectory, you can tell who in 20 to 40 years will be leading Kenya. And it will be none of the families, none of the communities Kenyans have considered contenders. It will be from communities and sectors they have previously considered a joke. One of the reasons was that the demographics is on their side, but the most important statement he said is that the level of education. So mu Uganda bazadde ate basomeseza abaana bangi. They have done those two things at the same time. They have, I think he was interpreting census data, and there had been a multiplication of Muslim data, but also an increase in human development indicators, health, education, and so on and so forth. So he said it's really automatic. These guys have Kenya. Well, that brings us home. I want to request us to observe a moment of silence for my brother, our deceased president. Hakim Lubega. Let's observe a moment of silence. May he soul rest in eternal peace. May he enjoy eternal jannah. Hakim had little time in your seat, huh? But Hakim understood that UMLAS could no longer outsource the situation of the Muslim in Uganda, at least the legal situation, to any other sector, any other individual except UMLAS. I remember him struggling with a number of UMLAS cases, personally, and I asked him, why are you doing these cases yourself as president? The answer wasn't nice. He had little confidence in everyone in this room. Not that he was the best, he was clearly overwhelmed, but he didn't want the embarrassment. He didn't think that he had the clout, the influence, to send a case to Mr. Sekanjako, to send a poor widow and get feedback that things are progressing well. So he wanted to be the sole accountability center, and I think we killed him. I think we killed him. Because when you take on such a high mandate, you die. You die. We have a senior practicing attorney here, the judge, who can tell you that this work is backbreaking, work. It kills. In the time we lost Hakim, we also lost Wameli. And I struggled, argued with Wameli, and I told him, all that work you're taking on for this movement alone will kill you. So for me, I'm going to preserve myself by not doing any of it. I'm not going to do any of it unless those people organize themselves and understand that lawyers are not their doormat. How do you deceive a lawyer that you do work for us? We shall give you a party card, constituency, and you reduce, you reduce these traditions to some form of transactional exchange. Anyway, we have a wonderful moment of reflection. I can see very many young people here. I would like to assure you, using the example of our most senior representative in the legal profession, Justice Chibedi, that to be a Muslim lawyer in Uganda as well, there was a time when it meant to be the best lawyer of them all. It's on record. Abu Kachama Mayanja was celebrated by none other than who is the professor who did those movies? Mazrui. Professor Ali Mazrui was invited to speak on the 40th anniversary of the Bank of Uganda in the Makerere University Hall, main hall, and the theme was the role of intellectuals in building the nation. He defined an intellectual. He defined the categories. And he said, for the time he has lived, and he has been available and active in all those 40 years, in each of those categories, there are about 5. He provided a typical Ugandan that he could vouch for. The very entry level, intellectual is the one who writes an opinion to the editor. One who picks a topic in public affairs and shares his or her thoughts with the editor of a newspaper so that it's published either as a letter or an opinion. That is the entry level into being a public intellectual. And he said that is how Abu Kachama Mayanja established himself on the scene. Right from student days, and continued being the Ugandan whose articles everybody looked to understand the situation of this republic. We were trying to midwife. We had a duty to midwife when it was given to us. In fact, it is what took him to jail. Articles in the Transition magazine, which he wrote with Nioji and others. So, the first, centerpiece of intellectualism in this country was you shared something with them. Today now, they say a few good Muslims. I think there's even a book. Was it Mamdani? Good Muslim, bad Muslim. I don't think many people here have read it. Please, I encourage you to read it. Because they are discussing you. They're discussing you. You have already been discussed, stereotyped, profiled, pigeonholed. So it's important to understand what you're up against. Now, I want to lessen the accusation or maybe democratize it, since misery loves company. You're not alone in the accusation of mediocrity. This accusation UMLAS shares equally with other sectoral agencies within the bar. The first one is FIDA. You know FIDA? The Uganda Women Lawyers Association. I think it's now 50 years old. But FIDA struggled. The first time they discovered they were struggling was on their 30th anniversary. I was at the university. I was a part of it. At the university, we gave them an award for doing good work. But within there was a movement. They had noticed that they have been reduced to women who fight for orphans and vulnerable children. And that means there were women lawyers who categorized all other women as vulnerable. They looked down on them. And they felt that for them, they were not vulnerable. They were, by just studying law and graduating, they had escaped the pressure cooker conditions of life, and they would provide legal services to vulnerable women, orphans, and vulnerable children. And so on that trajectory, they removed themselves from all other areas of endeavor and achievement, which a law degree could give them. And to sort of reconcile this contradiction, they began using FIDA to seek jobs in government, even jobs for which they are not competent. So it became a clearing center, a lobby center, lobbying whoever has jobs that this is our person as women lawyers. And now you can imagine, then they began fighting amongst themselves of, you did not back me, you backed the other one, and the whole thing collapsed. By the 40th anniversary, they couldn't even agree on who to put on a high table. In the whole room, people had grudges. We, the men who attended, were the most popular. That's when I understood that I have really arrived at the bar. Now I know where dead bodies are buried. So I saw this replicate itself. After some time, women lawyers realized that segregating themselves from the mainstream bar was a bad idea. You learn a lot. Justice Chibedi, my lord, I apologize. Justice Chibedi can give testimony. He shared a working space with women lawyers that didn't enter that FIDA nonsense. And they competed with fellow men, worked to collaborate with fellow men. And I think now all of them are, your neighbors are with you in the court of appeal at the end of the day. Justice Eva Luswata and Justice Irene Muriagonja. You know, their practice tells it all. They took the same cases men take. Okay? They participated in the same conversations men did. They lived life in the mainstream bar. They did not, you know, front their womanhood as the ticket, the meal card for accessing what the bar can, what a law degree can give you. You can see that at the end of the day, they are the ones, you know, in the driving seat for the country. So all the other, can I call them crooked mafia, are out there still, you know, doing the same things they were doing, looking for grants and what and that, transacting, selling the condition of vulnerable women to whoever wants to pay for them to live good life. That's nonsense we talked about. But anyway, the point I'm saying is that I think when institutional memory was lost, first it was regained. Women returned to the mainstream bar, And then we formed a female lawyer section where even, it's a cluster where even men can be a part. And it was moving well. And then the same thing happened. Somebody formed female lawyers network, kick out the guys so that we monopolize opportunity for ourselves, and so on and so forth. But we had a conversation about that during the campaign. I don't want to bother you. I'm so happy, all the women here who have given testimony, that conversation opened your eyes. You understood that the most ideal woman is one who is, sassy, unapologetic, ready to elbow men out of the way, just like it was in primary school and secondary school, in Kawempe and everywhere, Did you have a circle for girls alone, discussion group for girls alone in Kawempe? No. Or elsewhere in Chivuli, no. So why this nonsense? Why do you be deceived? So I think I will give only those examples for now. Yes, let me give another one. Uganda Christian Lawyers Fraternity. You share mediocrity with them as well. It has now become utterly the symbol for corruption, where the most incompetent and corrupt, the only thing they use to get ahead is, I have the backing. But that dog won't hunt any further. Young lawyers, even senior lawyers, those who have lost out of this thing, they can now see it for what it is. So I would like to make this appeal. We have, through thick and thin, gotten back our moment, gotten back our Abu Kacha Mama Yanja moment. Let's use it properly to celebrate the best traditions, the finest traditions of being a minority lawyer. All right? Only, you are the only community that has rare fuel, rare hunger to succeed exceedingly, because you don't have the networks of corruption and old boys and things like that, to fall back to. You must be good. In fact, good is not enough. You must be great. I cannot say this enough. My Lord Justice, I focused on public law and human rights exclusively. And you know why? Because I saw you do those cases exceedingly well. I asked myself, why is it that the most iconic cases at the Constitutional Court passed through Chibedi Muzamiru? Fox Odoi, so many. What's that NSF case called? The one with Mugoya and others. Simbe Holdings. So many. There were two. If you study Ugandan jurisprudence after the 1995 Constitution, you will find a triangle of attorneys taking the lion's share of juristic credit. You will find Joseph Biamugisha. Then you will find Chibedi Mzamiru, then as counsel, and Muhammad Mbabazi. Not that there are not other lawyers, but the community organizes itself to say, itirawo kola bekyagamba. Itirawo kola bekyagamba. Now, we've lost Biamugisha. He's now deceased. Justice Chibedi is in this Court of Appeal, soon probably Supreme Court, and I hope Chief Justice. My Lord Justice, we have been given a mandate to bang the table in particular sectors to ensure that Ugandans can see for themselves how a judge is chosen. And can see, judge Avanachi, what kind of metal, heft, craft do they have? Let us see. Yesterday we were with the Chief Justice, and he was very cordial indeed. He told us, in their days, judges were selected by a shoulder tap. As you're moving around, eating somewhere, somebody taps you and says, "You look judge material." And then they watch how you respond. Say, "Me? Maybe. Say, you look judge material. You should go and see some so and so about it." And that's all. Now, there was a time when that was good enough, you know. But this is a different time. This is a different time. Shoulder tap cannot be the way we select judges. All right? Now, this is the TikTok time. We want to see our judges speak the national problem in the same time as a TikTok post. You either have it or you don't. So I'm glad to report that we have unity there. Even within the judiciary, at the top management, we've been affirmed that go and fight for the judiciary of your time. So that requires me to reiterate the message that young Muslim lawyers, you should do more than double the work that others do. You should have double the qualifications, double the ethical resilience, double the networking capacities, you know, because, and stop this languishing, you know, this seeking company, misery in company. I went to St. Mary's College Kisubi, and they taught us that success separates. That's the unique definition of success. End result. It separates you from your best friends. It separates husband and wife. It separates. So if you want to continue being around people who tell you that it's okay to celebrate mediocrity, you are in the wrong company. So, Mr. President, don't fear to speak to these people the way I've spoken to them today. We must have UMLAS 2.0. Or else, some of us won't attend other functions. We shall only attend UMLAS 2.0 activities. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
So, with those remarks, which haven't been so kind, I hope you had eaten your food or something. Yes. I would like now to kindly invite His Excellency Haj Ismail Mpanga Bumba, our Deputy Consul, Malaysian Consul to Uganda.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين الصلاة والسلام على سيد الأولين والآخرين محمد الأمين وآله وأصحابه أجمعين. My Lord Justice Muzamil Chibedi, Excellencies, Presidents, the President of the Uganda Law Society, the incoming President of UMLAS, President Emeritus of UMLAS, my young sister, the incoming Vice President, Honorable Member of Parliament, Mwadan Kunyinji, all of you in your respective capacities, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I wish I had been given fair warning that my speech would be in between the words of wisdom of the trending president of the Uganda Law Society, in whom everyone has a lot of hope as a disruptor to effect change, and Dina. So speaking right in between those two makes it very difficult for me, because I know that he took up all your concentration and now you're concentrating on what happens next. So I'll try to be brief. First of all, it's a profound honor to join you tonight to reflect and celebrate UMLAS while reimagining the UMLAS you all deserve. I think talking about reimagining the UMLAS you all deserve resonates with the Council Semakade's disruption and banging the table and revolutionizing ULS. My reason for saying that is reimagining means do away with the imagination you've had and start thinking of UMLAS 2.0. So, I'll begin by extending my deepest gratitude to the UMLAS leadership, who have graciously accorded me the honor of being your guest of honor tonight, to witness and preside over the handover and takeover in a peaceful manner of leadership. I would like to thank Council Ali Kankaka and his executive for a job well done, and I would like to congratulate the incoming president, my brother Council Rashid Semmambo, and his executive for the trust the Muslim lawyers have placed in you and the hope they have in you, and I pray that Allah guides you as you fulfill your mandate. Now, I think reimagining the UMLAS you all desire is a befitting and timely theme for this year's dinner. This is because we are living in a time when things are changing and evolving. First of all, when we try to reimagine what UMLAS is or what UMLAS should be, we should define who a Muslim is, because you're Muslim before you are a lawyer. And the governing law for all of us as Muslims is what we commonly refer to as Sharia law. But we don't have enough Sharia experts in UMLAS, I think. I think the UMLAS executive should consider having Sharia experts within your membership. We know that there are some who are both lawyers and they are also qualified in Sharia, but please bring on board other Sharia experts, because now we live in a time where their expertise is very much needed in Islamic finance, in family law, in inheritance, and so on and so forth. And this would mean that you have to enhance, or rather elevate, the knowledge of Sharia law within at least the fraternity of Muslim lawyers. And this could be done by, first of all, demystifying Sharia law, making it, doctor, you could break it down for the non-Sharia experts to understand without going into the very, very complex issues of fiqh and other matters of Islamic jurisprudence. And when we all have the basic understanding of Sharia law, it will be very easy for us to seek representation in legal reform. We've had so many people advocating for Islamic banking in parliament, in other fora, but unfortunately, when you ask them what Islamic banking is about, they cannot really defend it. They'll just tell you it is the financial system that does away with riba. But what is riba? When does riba apply? What are the tenets of Islamic banking? They may not readily understand. So I think, Mr. President, you should try to find some initiatives of demystifying Sharia law, because even then, as we work to advocate for the operationalization of the Qadi courts, we need practitioners, but we also need the lawyers to understand the Sharia law. I think this can be done by coming up with basic Sharia education programs for lawyers in fields of finance, family law, and social justice. Reimagining the UMLAS, Your Desire, I think also talks about mobilization of resources. This could be one way or one stream of revenue where you could have these small courses and lawyers could pay to learn Sharia law. The Prophet ﷺ said, "Khairun nas afna'uhum linnas, anfa'uhum linnas," that the best among people is the one who is the most beneficial to them. So it'll be more beneficial when you know both the Islamic law, not in depth, basically, and of course your secular law. Secondly, talking about how a Muslim lawyer, who a Muslim lawyer is, or how a Muslim lawyer should go about their affairs, is also still rooted in the tenets of Sharia. And of course, we know what we call the maqasid of Sharia, and these are the objectives of the Islamic law. That is protection of faith, protection of life, protection of intellect. I'll stop a bit here because we have been having a problem with that, because we live in a time of misinformation where even the less competent and less knowledgeable come out to give their opinions where it matters or it doesn't matter. But I think it's time to draw with mediocrity. You heard the speech of the incoming president, which I loved very much. Mr. ULS President, before you came, Councillor Rashid gave a very, very moving speech. If you were not the president of ULS, I would say it was just as tough as yours. But since you're the ULS president, it was almost as tough as yours. Of course, there is protection of wealth, which is another objective of the Sharia. And this, by way of itself, encourages us to support fair economic practices and prevent exploitation. and this is being done by some of us here. My brother, Counsel Isaac Chagaba, who is the lawyer who brought Salam Bank to Uganda. My sister, Counsel Sophie Chigozi, who is the Deputy CEO of the Islamic, of the Islamic Finance Hub. So, what they are doing is one of the objectives of the Sharia. Now, ladies and gentlemen, you have achieved a great deal. Allow me to slightly disagree with Counsel Semakade when he says that you are a joke. There, yeah, maybe, but not, yeah? Yeah, in perception. And I think that is also something that can be qualified in one way or another. But I think you have come a long way. First of all, just mobilizing yourselves as Muslim lawyers to have an association that has lasted all these years is an achievement in and of itself. Secondly, identifying as Muslims in this profession, you've heard the wise words of the president that before, to be a Muslim lawyer meant you had to be the best of, you had to be the best lawyer of all. So today, we may not have one Abu Kacha Mamayanja, but collectively we can achieve some of the things those great people before us achieved. So coming together as Muslim lawyers is something that you must all be commended for. But of course, there is a lot that UMLAS can be used for. So now, as we reimagine the UMLAS we all desire, let's reimagine what we can do as UMLAS. First of all, UMLAS can be used as a tool for overcoming the disunity we have in Islam today. If the leaders, and I mean, if the religious leaders cannot unite for one reason or another, that may be beyond our ability to unite them. Some may be for genuine reasons, others may be for selfish reasons. We are not there to judge. But what we can do is to take it upon ourselves as Muslim lawyers that if one mufti and another mufti and another mufti are all claiming muftiship, there is a lot that we are missing out on. Because when you affiliate with one, you lose out on opportunities that are affiliated with another. But as UMLAS, you can take initiatives to unite the Ummah. You can have your own way because you're lawyers of different ethnic and I would say educational backgrounds in the early years, but you all belong to different groups, different families. But if you come together under this umbrella, please do not use it again to divide among yourselves. These differences, from what I hear, have been a cause of squabbles and division on a WhatsApp group. But these differences should not be reflected in you. First of all, unless you are qualified, you're not going to become a religious leader. But you're a Muslim who has a mandate to uplift and unite the Ummah. So, we all have our divergent opinions. After all, yours is a profession of opinions, based on perspectives, emotions, knowledge or lack of it, and facts. But you should not promote these differences because you're uniquely positioned to overcome these obstacles and serve as a unifying force. And by the way, unity in Islam is not optional. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us that وَاعْتَصِمُوا بِحَبْلِ اللَّهِ جَمِيعًا وَلَا تَفَرَّقُوا, that hold tight onto the rope of Allah together and do not become disunited. So disunity is already disobedience to Allah. And secondly, we believe that the legal profession is a profession that is based on reasoning. Not so? It's a profession that is based on reasoning. What does Allah tell us in the Holy Quran? He says in Surah Al-Hashr that تحسبهم جميعا وقلوبهم شتى ذلك بأنهم قوم لا يعقلون. That you think they are united, they appear to be united, but their hearts are disunited. And that is because they are a group of people that do not reason. So by being disunited, I think it defeats the purpose of being the people we consider to be land people. So start by promoting and creating unity among yourselves, and then come up with programs and initiatives. And some of them could, you don't have to be the experts to preach unity. My Lord, I'm the patron of the Nujum al-Huda Foundation. This foundation has almost 250 sheikhs, Muslim scholars, from at all different levels. What we decided to do was to go ahead and preach unity in Islam. Inclusiveness, fighting violence, extremism, advocacy against corruption, and whatever it is that Islam doesn't stand for. But I think it would be good if we collaborated or had some kind of initiative where we work with UMLAS and share a platform in promoting these objectives. Secondly, you could organize different fora. You've organized this dinner. You can organize many others. After all, our president has said that he's going to be part of everything UMLAS 2.0. So I believe this is part of UMLAS 2.0. When you organize these things, he will come, and I'm sure ULS will support you, and others will come in and support. Reimagining the UMLAS we all desire, I'll reiterate what the speakers before me have said. The senior among you should mentor the young ones among you. Today we have very many young professionals, not only in the legal profession, young professionals who are going out and working recklessly and putting money at the forefront. This has been a cause of social degeneration because it's one of the leading causes of social ills like corruption. But when you mentor them and tell them what their mandate is as a lawyer, tell them how to navigate and work for truth and justice, I believe that this mentorship program could help you to pass on the baton of leadership to the generations that are coming below you. Then, ladies and gentlemen, the advocacy for the Qadi courts. Qadi courts, as we all know, are supposed to operate under the Constitution and the Magistrates Courts Act. But why are they not taking off? What don't we have? What are we lacking? We have matters in Muslim families being handled by judicial officers who do not understand how matters of Muslim families should be handled. So we end up being subjected to a system that we do not believe in simply because we have nothing to do. Please, UMLAS 2.0, continue this advocacy. Please, Uganda Law Society, help UMLAS at least achieve this objective. Reimagining UMLAS, my brothers and sisters, offer yourselves for leadership. Stand up and be counted. Muslims being in positions of leadership and responsibility should and must no longer be a matter of affirmative action. We must be chosen, we must be elected, we must be appointed because we are able, because we are competent, because we are up to the task, and because at least we maintain a very high moral compass, because that's what Islam dictates. I'll give you a very funny story that I found in the diplomatic circles. One of the ambassadors told me that since their embassy was opened, all the drivers they have there are Muslims. The drivers, the ones who operate the motor vehicles, are Muslims. And I told him that, is this the best way you can relate with me as a Muslim, telling me that your drivers are Muslims? After all, I'm your fellow diplomat, and we could relate at a level. And he told me that, no, actually, it's a commendation for the Muslims, because we employ Muslims because we believe that, first of all, they are honest, and secondly, they are always sober. So, if that can be said about the people in the semi-skilled business, then how about you, the people who are in the land profession? So, stand up and be counted. But not only stand up and be counted as individuals, but please elevate each other, promote each other, recommend each other, support each other. We wouldn't want to hear that Justice Chibedi, inshallah, as the prayer of ULS president, has been appointed to a certain office that the president hoped for. And we hear Muslims going on social media and coming out, saying this and that about him. None of us is perfect. But Council Semambo said, let us promote the abilities and competences of each other and cover the weaknesses of each other. After all, the Prophet ﷺ told us that whoever covers the weaknesses of a fellow Muslim, Allah will cover his weaknesses on the day of judgment. Finally, in reimagining the UMLAS we all desire, I think it's high time you people adequately leverage the media for advocacy and for unity. Today, at least in the Ummah, I always say this whenever I'm addressing my colleagues in Nujumul Huda and other fora, that many of the students of Deen, I usually say that whoever can join 3 Arabic letters now becomes a sheikh, as long as they can pronounce the difficult letters, Ain, Kha, Qaf, Dad, immediately they become a sheikh. And they will get their cell phones, sit down somewhere under a tree or under a certain shelter, and give an opinion and issue a fatwa. Why? Because of the differences I'm talking about that we have in Islam today. So, you as Muslim lawyers, why don't you have an UMLAS, let's say, YouTube channel, or I don't know if you have one, or, be available on X, TikTok, or wherever. Be available on TikTok. All it takes, how many members do you have in UMLAS? 700. Now, 700 means that we could get a Muslim lawyer every day to teach something in the law for 30 seconds to 1 minute, a different Muslim lawyer for 2 years running without repeating. Because people need to understand, they don't know their rights, They don't know their freedoms. They get bullied. They are marginalized. We have women suffering in homes, and these days I hear even men are suffering as well. But Council Semakade, you're a very good advocate for the oppressed, so maybe there will be another forum where the men will come to you to help them with their oppression. But everyone is coming out to give. The majority of the opinions are uninformed, based on whims, fancies, emotions, relations. But when we have more than 700 members in UMLAS who can come up, we don't talk about what is happening today, but talk about different things in family law, in commercial law, in whatever it is, because we need this knowledge. And by the way, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, it's good, I've seen the Secretary of Dawah, that balighu anni walau ayah, that convey from me even if it's one verse. Even if it's one verse. So even you can just come and teach one thing or the other, and the Ummah will learn. So as I conclude my remarks, allow me to give you a piece of advice. Your role as Muslim lawyers, your role as UMLAS, it is not only to uphold the law, but it's also to reflect the highest standards of Islamic character and ethics. Be different. Stand out because you're different. Stand out because you're ethical. Stand out because you are a good Muslim. And you'll achieve this by these few points that I'm going to mention and conclude. The first one is amana, or integrity. At the heart of your profession is amana. You're entrusted with the well-being, assets, and rights of people, often at their most vulnerable moments. Do not take advantage of them. Do not take advantage of people's situations to see that they are exploited or they get the shorter end of the stick. Lawyers, magistrates, registrars, etc. Make sure that when someone knows that a matter is before a Muslim judge, they are confident that they are going to receive justice. Make sure that if someone applied for bail before a Muslim magistrate, they'll be granted bail whether they are poor or rich, whether they have connections or not. This is UMLAS 2.4. Second is adl. Adl is justice, and your role is inherently tied to that. I've told you, stand for what's right and what's fair and just, even if it's not always popular and easy. قُلِ الْحَقُّ وَلَوْ كَانَ مُرًّا. Say the truth, even if it is bitter. The third is confidentiality, sirr. Guard the secrets that come before you as you execute your duties. People come to you with secrets about their health, their wealth, their marriage, whatever it is. Please guard them jealously and do not sell them out because you want to make a quick buck or take advantage of them. Because Allah said that, and fulfill every commitment, because the commitment the commitment that comes about which one will be questioned. And this is in chapter 17 verse 34. Then the other one is rahmah, mercy. Approach your duties with empathy. Approach your duties with mercy. Money is very, very, very important. I can't emphasize that enough. Money is very, very, very important. But your role to Allah and the Ummah is far much more important. So, my brother, the ULS president, said that you people killed the former president of UMLAS. May Allah have mercy on him. Because he probably didn't have confidence in some people that if a poor widow was sent to him, or if they sent a poor widow to them, they would give him feedback. Probably because this widow may not have money for legal representation. But appeal to mercy, because the Prophet ﷺ said, Ar-Rahimun, Yarhamhumur Rahman, Irhamu man fil ard, Yarhamkum man fis sama. That the merciful are shown mercy by the most merciful, who is Allah. Have mercy upon those on earth, and the one in heaven will have mercy on you. And I don't know anyone who doesn't want Allah's divine mercy. Finally, ihsan, or diligence. The Prophet ﷺ said, Inna Allah yuhibbu idha amila ahadakum amalan an yutqinahu. That indeed Allah loves that when anyone does a job, they do it perfectly. You had testimonies about Justice Muzamil Chibedi, a living example of doing their work perfectly. You had the testimony about my sister Zahara. That's executing your duties perfectly. As a Muslim lawyer, be different by doing your work perfectly. You had your president here saying that there are matters that come to him and he says, it's before who? That judge, we shall confuse him. That who wrote that notice, don't worry, you go back, we shall handle this. But then there are others where he'll have a sleepless night saying that by the time this person has come out in this matter, it must be very, very well researched. So, make sure that you execute your duties with diligence. And finally, at-tawadu, humility. When we are banging the table, we should do it still with humility. When you're banging the table, remember that we are Muslims, so we should do it with humility. If you're banging the table, bang only the table, but not the people sitting around the table. So, because after all, now we have discovered that maybe the table is the problem. So, if you're banging the table, or I would say panel beating the table, let us make sure that we do it with tawadu. What I mean on a serious note is a tawadu is one of the characteristics of a Muslim, and should be one of the characteristics of a Muslim lawyer. You people have a tendency of calling yourselves land colleagues, the land club, land profession, as if others went to school to just eat ground nuts. They also went to school to learn. But if they also join you in consensus and believe that you are the land people, then don't go over ahead of yourselves and think that you're better than everyone else. Have humility. You must exude tawadu. Because the true power belongs to Allah. So, as you execute your duties, remember that. Once again, allow me to thank the outgoing executive for inviting me, because they're the ones who invited me. And the incoming executive for welcoming me. So that shows a peaceful handover and transition of power, because the predecessor invited me and the successor welcomed me. And we pray to Allah to continue guiding UMLAS as a united and uniting force that inspires, guides, and defends our community. Ladies and gentlemen, as we reimagine the UMLAS Your Desire, reimagine UMLAS as an association where young lawyers find mentorship, where the Qadi courts find strong advocates, where the members take up leadership roles across all sectors, where the Ummah finds a voice and a unifying platform that brings together all Muslims in Uganda towards common goals. Ladies and gentlemen, allow me to end my speech here. It's been an honor, and I wish you success in UMLAS 2.0. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك نشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت نستغفرك ونتوب إليك السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.
Walaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Thank you very much, Your Excellency. Ladies and gentlemen, I am going to use this opportunity to humbly request Your Excellency, Your Excellencies, may I humbly request that Your Excellencies do not sit. Very kind request. And I ask you that we do away with this part. This lady, Ajati Fatuma, Council, organized a cake. And she has very specifically asked me the following people. She uses a certain word. The people that are going to participate in cutting it. The guest of honor, President ULS, President UMLAS, Vice President UMLAS. May I request that we do away with this, and once we are done with that, the next part will be inviting you to the dinner. As we get there, I want to assure you that almost all the values that the guest of honor mentioned are our core values. Actually, the very first one is amana and nazaha, which is trust and integrity. There is a lady, madam, there is a lady. And I am very sure that council, you want to balance the boat? No, I want two ladies there. Hey, okay. Yes, are we ready? Can we please get, I've been asked to count downwards. Three, two, one. Hey, she has, please, let her first light up. 3, 2, 1. Hey, round of applause. Thank you very much. Hey, now this is when sitting near becomes important. When I look at the size of this cake, by the time it reaches my brother, may Allah give you patience. We will start with his lordship. Please, you can partake of your seats. You see, our President ULS is being very humble. He wants to be the one that serves his lordship. And very intentional. Thank you very much. When the President ULS was speaking, you would hear a pin drop. And I was like, Abalina. That is how radical things are. Thank you, Mr. President ULS, for making time. I know this was very short notice. That is sponsors to some. Indeed. Yes, and he wants to also serve other members. Yes, guest of honor, please. Guest of honor, the high table, actually, may I invite you to be the first at the table. We are ready to receive you at the tables. It is going to be very simple. We will start with those nearest. After the guest of honor and the high table leave, we will start with those nearest, either side. I will also we will move one table at a time. I can assure you everybody will be catered for. Zuria, please take over.
Okay. Thank you everyone. Thank you to our distinguished guests. Thank you to the Thank you to our chief guest. Thank you to the President, ULS, the President, UMLAS, for the wonderful messages that we've received. I understand it's time for us to have our dinner, and kindly you'll be informed. Someone will come and just let you to the serving point. Yes, my dear. Yes.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, we were joined by our own Narukola Eliasi Luimbazi, the incoming MP, Kawempe North. Please say salam.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi.
The President ULS almost talked about you. Yes, almost talked about you. Recently, I saw you seated very humbly, asking for votes. And then our own Malik, the known Malik, was Akalulu. Because the way you were seated, Banangi, it was very difficult to tell that is the Narukola we know, who goes to court and bangs the table. But we wish you the best. Yes. Ladies and gentlemen, we also want to acknowledge, our decorators.
Yes, they did a wonderful job.
Zuria, can you take us through that part? Who are these wonderful?
As we prepare to say thank
I
you.
assure you, when I grow up, I'll be like His Lordship Muzamir Chibedi. Inshallah, you should take lessons.
As we kindly get ready for our dinner, we want to say a thank you to the service providers, to Protea Skyz. We want to say thank you to the decorators. And kindly wait. We'll have a table at a time.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are going to find a way of managing this. Yes, that is the right word, managing it, because I've just been informed that we have one serving point. I was under the illusion that there are two.
Yeah, we thought there
So
were
we have
two-
to manage it. So we'll be moving a table from either side
Yes,
of the
yes, that's
divide.
what we're doing.
I also want to, on my behalf and on behalf of the organizing committee, apologize for being very poor at managing time. We thought by this time we would have departed, but I think it was worth it. So kindly understand our dilemma and be patient until we come to your table. I am going to ask the organizers to take a lead. I don't want to be the person that
Ladies and gentlemen, once you go to have your dinner, please don't forget this red coupon. It will be required for you to be
allow
able
me to also recognize. Allow me to recognize our brother Seka Njako Abubakar, the ULS representative to the Law Council. He was here on time. We have also been graced by a couple of distinguished personalities. Council Mwada Kunyinji. I have seen a number of worships. Our worship Nanteza. Our worship Nanteza is the president of the Judiciary Muslim Association. We don't take it for granted. Thank you for the time.
Thank you, Your Worship.
Yes. Our worship, Mutanra, Rashida, thank you very much for gracing this occasion. In a special way, I want to take recognition of the registrars from the Ministry of Lands and Urban Development. Though they paid as individuals, they reserved a table. We thank you. It has been very humbling hosting you. Thank you very much. May Allah reward you.
Allahumma ameen. Thank you very much to the Ministry of Lands. And as we prepare to go have our dinner, let's just continue to be a little bit patient. Remember to carry your coupon when your table is picked upon. And a special thank you to our sponsors, Ministry of Lands, Housing and Urban Development, Lukwago, Matovu and Company Advocates, Cafero and Company Advocates, in a special way, obviously, to UMLAS and the UMLAS Executive, to you, the members of UMLAS, and to Uganda Law Society. Thank you very much. Excuse me, ladies and gentlemen. Council Haula Nalubega. Council Haula Nalubega, if you're here, you're needed outside. Council Haula Nalubega, you're needed at the front desk, please. And as we prepare to have our dinner, let's remember some of the messages that have been passed on to us today. We've been reminded to stand up and get counted. That means us showing up in the best way possible and representing UMLAS in the best way possible.
يا ربي أرجو لقاء يوما في دار السلام. Everywhere I hear your name be mentioned, the whole world's talking about you and the thought of being part of your nation. I'm so proud to find